Today, we are joined by celebrity branding expert, Emmy Award-winning producer, and quite frankly, a master at reinventing himself. I'm really excited to chat with the creator of ambitious.com, Greg Rollett. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mark, man. Appreciate it, you having me, and this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things we were kind of chatting about in our pre-chat banter, I want to dive right into it. I told you to hold it because it was getting really, really good, really tactical, is reinventing yourself. Right now, every business owner, every entrepreneur needs to reinvent the way they do business because COVID-19 has changed the game, changed the landscape. So tell me a little bit about how your business has evolved over the past 6 months.
It doesn't look anything like it looked like in the prior 6 months, which is both a blessing and a curse. And so I love this idea of reinvention because I think I had a long conversation about this yesterday. Is people think that once they've been established as something that they can't do something else, right? Like, for the last 10 years, I've been like the video guy, right? So I've had my own TV shows, I've hosted them. We have a beautiful studio in Orlando, Florida. We do documentaries, we have shows on Netflix and Amazon. Like, I'm the video guy, and it's what people. But like, I'm just like, I don't want to be the video guy anymore. And there's this imaginary like guy rock or boulder on your shoulder where you're like, well, but I spent 10 years being the video guy. Right. I have to continue to be the video guy because that's what other people expect me to be. And this whole COVID thing gave me the opportunity to go, you know what? I have no choice but to start from scratch. So why not be what I want to be versus what the market wants me to be, or my partners want me to be, or my existing clients want me to be? What if I just want to be what I want to be, like when I grow up? So pre-COVID, obviously a lot of video stuff. Like I just kind of mentioned, we had people flying in from all over the world to our studios in Orlando, Florida, where we created everything from, like Gary V snackable style videos is what we call them, to online TV shows, to documentaries, infomercials, reality TV shows, you name it. We're helping personality driven businesses use video to grow their business. And COVID hit, and nobody wanted to go on an airplane and spend, 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 on video work in Orlando, Florida. Like we went from, basically 90% of our revenue was lost within 3 weeks of that starting. So it gave me that opportunity because, again, if I kept selling what I was selling, in January, February, just recipe for disaster. Yeah. So one of the things that I am a big fan of is going on offense and not defense. And I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur right now is a lot of people wait for an opportunity like, all right, Mark, you've had a podcast for a year now. Now you can write a book. Like there's no magical fairy that does that. And I think a lot of people are waiting for something to happen in order to give them that motivation to, whether you're, an after hours entrepreneur, you're waiting for, well, when I get my tax refund back, I'll have enough money to invest and build my Shopify site or get there's nothing stopping you from starting today. And I had that opportunity and I would be, pretty hypocritical if I didn't take that opportunity myself. And I went on offense and I said, all right, I have an opportunity to start from scratch. What would I want to do? And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about what we went into, but we went on offense, over the last 6 months. Our revenues are now above pre-COVID levels, and we have an entirely brand new product line that we are launching in November I'm more fired up about this than anything ever because I'm doing it for myself, not because of the judgment of, oh, Greg's the video guy. So I'm like, well, I guess I got to sell video stuff. I don't want to sell video stuff. Like I don't, and so it's kind of exciting. So that's at least a jump off point for you to ask some follow-ups on that.
Yeah, no. So this is super, super important right now because the world is changing so rapidly. If there's one thing that I think every business owner, every after hours entrepreneur should be doing, needs to be doing, is evolving what they do. And quite frankly, I think a lot of people don't enjoy necessarily what they do. So they want to evolve. They want to create something new. And to your point, Greg, very, very, very difficult to do because you spent 10 years labeling yourself or branding yourself as the video guy. So over the past 6 months, you've had to shift that. What are some ideas? What are some strategies that we can leverage to change our people's perception of what we do?
Well, first is I am not a woo-woo guy. I'm not super into like personal development and like I don't have a vision board in front of me, but getting clarity on where that I wanted to go was super freaking important. And so if you are more of an analytical person, you're not super like, fairies and rainbows and unicorns, if you're into that, cool. But it was like, all right, if this is what the person that I want to be in 2 or 3 years, well, now it's not just like close my eyes and manifest it. It's what do I need to do? What do I need to put in place? What are the, I back into like numbers. All right. So if we want to have, a $20 million supplement company in the next 3 years, well, what do we need to do in the first 90 days? What do we need to do in the first 6 months? What are our distribution channels? And started looking at it really tangibly. And then again, like I said, go on offense and attack that. So first is really deciding like, who is the person that I want to be? Like, what do I want my life to look like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road. And I didn't like where my life was going if I had stayed on that trajectory. Yep, I got the money, but I'm not super happy. I'm working 100 hours a week. And so having clarity on that. The second thing that I started to do is, right behind me over here, as I'm filming in my bedroom today, not the fancy studio, I have, 2 bookshelves full of books. And I started looking, I go, what's the commonality between all of these? And they all had to do with high performance and being a better performer and productivity and getting more things done and utilizing all the different parts of the brain and functioning at a higher level. And I'm like, maybe there's something to this. Like, this is the stuff I nerd out about. I geek out about. And, as a video guy, like, I'm not going in, I'm like, all right, before your video shoot today, you need to eat all your greens and do this and, light therapy. But that's all the stuff I geek out on. And so I started saying, well, what could I do in that space that is unique to me, to my personality? And so I think for the people listening at home, if you don't know that angle, like, look around your house. What are, we all vote with our wallets. I think this is one of the number one things. We don't vote with our gut. We don't vote with our instinct. We vote with our wallets. What are you spending money on? Right. And so I had $600 worth of books from Amazon, all on these same topics, all along these same threads. I look at like my supplement cabinet, like I'm voting with my wallet. I look at like energy drinks. I look at like all the things that I'm spending money on. I go, well, where's the white space there? And I think that's a great place to look at, is if you're starting a business, at the end of the day, we got to make profit. Like, we got to make money. We got to make revenue. Like, otherwise it is just going to be a hobby, and you're going to be an after hours entrepreneur for a really long time, where you keep telling everybody, I listened to that guy Mark's show and I got another idea and I got another idea, but you don't have a business until you make a sale. And if you start looking at, well, what do people actually buy? I think that's a really good place for people to start. So I started looking at that. I'm looking at my own buying habits, and I'm like, we're in the middle of a pandemic and I'm still spending hundreds of dollars a month on supplements and training and books and high performance. And maybe there's something here. And so taking kind of that approach was kind of the first light bulb for me that said, like, you know what? Maybe I should do something down this space.
Yeah,
so that was
like reverse engineer it, right? Say, hey, what am I spending money on? What do people need? And then kind of go back from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, being in a lot of mastermind groups, coaching groups, talking to podcast hosts, talking to people in Facebook groups, I just started reaching out to everyone and not pretending like I know it all. And this is hard for me because in the video field, I've gotten to work with everyone. Like, we've done work with Tony Robbins, to Jay Abraham, to Brian Tracy, to Jack Canfield, we just released an 8-part episodic series on James Altucher on Amazon. Like, I've gotten, like, at the video game, this isn't like, we've done some really cool stuff. On this side, I'm nobody. Like, yeah. I'm nothing. And I don't know what I don't know. Like, I don't know how to formulate a supplement. I don't know who to call. I don't know how to bottle it. Like, I spent the whole first 4 hours of this morning talking to like legal and FTC compliance attorneys. And like, I don't know how to do any of that. So I started just reaching out and being like, all right, well, I know Mark. I was interviewed on his show and he had this, or he just had this guest on his show. Maybe he can make that intro for me and I could just ask them some questions. And every day I was spending 2, 3, 4 hours on the phone, on chat, on Messenger, just asking dumb questions and just being like, hey man, like, and I'm happy to trade that for anything that I know, like on the video side or the distribution side or the marketing side. But like, I don't know who manufactured your supplement. How did you get it? Like, you're not a biologist. I'm not a chemist. Like, how do I formulate this? And I just started having the dumb conversations. And every rabbit hole led me to, oh, you need to talk to this guy. Well, you need to call this company. You need to talk to this person. This person did my labels. This, like, and it's just amazing opportunity happens when you put your ego to the side and you start saying, well, my vision is worth it. The person that I want to be in 3 years is worth putting my ego down to the side. I call this the ego equation. If your ego is larger than your vision or your mission, you're not going to do it. Right. So if you, like, it's in the context of like video marketing, you're like, I should shoot videos for my business. But your ego says, well, I don't look right. I don't have the right lighting. I don't have the right camera. What do I say? My grandma's friend might make fun of me. Well, now your ego is bigger than your mission. It's when the mission becomes bigger than your ego that you're like, well, I don't care if I look stupid on camera. I don't care if a couple hairs are out of place. I don't care, like, I got a couple sweat stains under my shirt today, because my message is more important than any of that. Because I know that if I reach one person. So I started having these conversations out of mission and out of vision, as opposed to out of ego. And I think ego stops a lot of people from being like, you know what, Mark, I don't know what to do. Where do I start? People are afraid to have that because they're afraid of starting small. They're afraid of being seen small. They're afraid of not knowing it. And they think that people care. Right.
Well, and if you're going to win in the coming years and decades, you have to get comfortable with discomfort, because I'm telling you, if things are going to change really. I mean, that's some of the things we've seen happen over the past 6 months. We expect it probably to happen over the next decade. It was like overnight, flip the switch. You had to transition everything. And the other thing I think that's really smart about what you've done or what you're doing, Greg, you say, hey, there's a need for a particular type of supplement that's going to help entrepreneurs. It's going to help them perform at a higher level. I don't know much about this, but what I do know is I know video. I have network. This is not my first podcast. I've learned a lot of skills over the past several years, and I can leverage those to get that step up, to get going more quickly. Hey, Mark here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Let YouTube know you're enjoying this video. Let me know you're enjoying this video. All right, let's get back into this episode. So I'm kind of curious, as you started going down this rabbit hole, developing ambitious energy, and go to ambitious.com to see everything that Greg's doing. What was kind of like an aha moment, and how did you piggyback off of that to get to the next person, the next person?
Inherently knowing that people want to help, right?
Sure.
Especially people like in our space, like people reach out all the time. Like I love genuinely being like, oh, do this, do this, do this. Like I love people genuinely want to help other people in this space. Like there's something giving about the entrepreneurial community. And I think that was a breath of fresh air, that no one looked at me like, oh, you're an idiot, or you're, and that was like eye-opening, because it gave me the confidence to reach out to the next person or someone higher up on the list. And all of a sudden I'm talking to, people that are running $100 million supplement companies, right, that are, giving me like insider information about how they formulate their formulas and this, and like, this is a way to get around your first orders and your MOQs, which is your minimum orders and stuff. And like, I'm just like, dude, like this is better than any course I could have taken. This is better than a YouTube video. And I think it's a trap that we got caught in. And I know I sell courses, other people, like, I'm nothing against like buying a course, but having one conversation with somebody who's doing what you want to do will get you 10 steps farther than any course. The other thing is courses don't make you better at taking action. They make you better at information gathering. And I think the good thing about having some of these forced conversations is it almost forces you to take action. Because if I talk to Mark and Mark's like, oh, you need to talk to Tony, and he makes an intro for me, I'm almost now forced to go talk to Tony, because otherwise Mark's going to look bad. And it forces you to have accountability. And that is a big, big piece of it. Courses almost just prolong, because they're like, oh, it's an 8-week course, I'm going to wait till the end of 8 weeks. And then I'm like, no, that's dumb. What can I do today to get me one step closer? And if that's a phone call, making this call, getting samples done, like calling on your marketplace, that has been huge. The other thing, I
love that about video podcasting too, by the way, is you're building your network, you're building your authority, you're building attention. Like I know people all over the place. I know professional NFL players here in South Florida that I can just call because of this experience. And that's, again, it sounds like a big part of your strategy right now is getting in front of new audiences and connecting with people via podcast. So I really love that. So let's keep going on. Let's keep going deeper into this strategy that you're launching, because I think that's really interesting for anyone that's launching a new program, a new platform, a new product. Going deeper into this strategy, what are you looking at to make sure you have a successful launch?
Yep. So we looked at white space in the marketplace. So the first product that we have, it's called Edge, and it's energy, focus, and performance for entrepreneurs. It's a nootropic, if people are familiar with like nootropics. And I've been taking them for 10, 11 years. In my Evernote that I carry with me everywhere, I've been tracking what's happened in taking different ones. And when I tried this formulation versus this formulation. And so I had a really good sense of it. And I know I wanted to go into the supplement route, but I didn't want to compete in the traditional supplement game. Like I don't want to compete with the muscle builders and like I'm not a jacked, I'm not a jacked guy. I don't know like exercise science, things like that. But I knew, for entrepreneurs in the new world that we're living in, we're doing stuff like this. Like we're sitting on Zooms and Squadcasts and StreamYard and Ecamm. Like we're sitting in these different platforms all day long. We're sitting more. We're exposed to more blue light. We're staring at our phones and our computer screens all day long. So I started thinking like, what are the problems that entrepreneurs are facing right now and are going to face over the next 3 years, 5 years? Posture, vision, mental clarity, focus. I got to do 8 Zoom calls today. How can I make sure that I'm as focused and energized on call number 8 as I am on call number 1? Because call number 8 might be super important. As sales calls, people are doing these like how. And so we started looking at all of the problems that entrepreneurs are going to face, mixed with my background in taking nootropics myself. And we started going to some of these manufacturing companies and saying, hey, here's some of the problems we face. Do you guys know any vitamins, nutrients, micronutrients? Do we know any formulations that help with our physical vision, not just like our vision for our company, but like actually seeing better or helping our eyes to recover after being on a screen for 10 hours? What do we have for like, posture, which is just joint pain, arthritis, looking into things of that nature. And,
so you've, to kind of summarize here, you've identified the problem and then you're going to an expert to say, hey, how can we solve the problem?
Yeah, 100%. And so I started asking people that formulate things for a living. Now, here's the crazy thing. Every vendor that you might want to use. So I talk to a lot of people that want to create their own journal or their own planner and things like that. Like, I'm like, just call up a printing company, because you know what? They want you to buy 1,000 planners. That's how they make money. So call them and ask them, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing, a flat cover, or I'm thinking of doing like a leather bound cover, or like, they will literally tell you what works, what doesn't, what prints, what doesn't. Like, I think people are scared, but like, to make those calls, because either they don't know what to ask, they don't know what to say, or that they're intimidated by it. But that's how these companies make money. So when I was calling some of these supplement manufacturers, they only make money when I say, all right, now let me order 10,000 of those. Let me order 5,000 of those. And so they're eagerly coming back to me with like, hey, try this stack, or check out this stack, or we found this compound, or here's another product in the marketplace. And so they started bringing that back to me, and I started looking at my notes, and we formulated a product from scratch. We did multiple iterations. We got multiple samples made. But I think the big thing was that I knew what I liked in the marketplace, so I did something for myself. Talked about that earlier, the vision of like what I wanted to do. B is we looked for white space and opportunity within a marketplace. We know the supplement market as a whole is huge, but where is my place in that marketplace? Again, it's not going up against meatheads, gym guys, nothing against those guys. I'm not that person. I can't. But entrepreneurs, I know them. I've been serving them for the last 10 years. I know the problems that I'm facing now working from home as opposed to the studio, and just the challenges that they have. What if I could formulate something for us? For us, for our tribe, for our community, and then finding the people who can actually make that happen. You don't always have to be the person doing the formulating, the piecing together. Like, again, like going back to like the journal example, like you don't have to print these in your basement. You can find a partner who will work with you. Will they work on a print on demand basis, but your cost might be a little higher? Cool. Until you can get to a place where you're doing minimum orders. Like, there's so many cool things. And especially on the digital space, one of the things that we teach to almost all of our coaching clients now is how do we sell and launch before we ever make, right? Like, I think that's one of the biggest opportunities that people have is like, all right, you want to create a course on helping people to sing better. I don't know, whatever, right? Well, can you go to your marketplace? Can you go live on Facebook Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and teach something cool about how to sing better, how to have more confidence when you're on stage, how to be in front of a crowd? And at the end, you go, hey, you know what? I'm doing a 4-week class. I'd love to invite you to it. And you start selling them before you ever make them. And guess what? If you sell a bunch of them, now you have to make it because you got customers that want your thing. And if you don't sell any, well, then you don't make it. You missed the angle, missed the problem, missed the angle. But now you can go back and reformulate.
So
and
let's I want to lean a little bit more into this, Greg, because this is interesting. I just kind of want to recap because you're just giving us tons and tons of great stuff here. So I think leveraging your skill set, finding that white space, going to the experts, right? So let's kind of assume that we as a creator have designed a product, create a product, a service that people actually want, people actually need, right? A valuable commodity that's going to accelerate their life. By the way, you can check it out at ambitious.com, which is a great domain name, by the way. Props on that domain.
Cost a small fortune. So,
so we got, you go to ambitious.com, you can see everything Greg's doing. But what would you say are 3 great strategies that we can employ now to actually let people know that we're out there? Again, we built up a resume of doing one thing. Now we're shifting. We found the need. We've got a great product. How can we actually get the news out there to resonate with people?
Yeah, so distribution is huge. And there's really only 2 types of distribution. There's distribution that you own and control, and there's distribution that you don't own and control. The distribution that you own and control would be, if you have a Facebook page, you have friends, right? You can go live to that group if you have a Facebook page, if you have an email list, if you have a podcast, if you have a YouTube channel, like the media that you own and control. Now, if you have that, that's obviously an asset, and we're going to leverage it to no end, right? And so leading up to the launch, like right now, I am dropping hints every single day via the videos that I put out, via the podcast, via my emails about like this product's coming, and I'm building up all this anticipation because it's media that I own and control. Now, for sake of this, I'm not going to talk much about that because I'm assuming if you have an email list, you know how to hit send in MailChimp and send an email out, right? Let's talk about the bigger opportunity is the audience that you don't own and control. So this could be paid advertising. So going onto the Facebook, going onto the Google machine and giving Mark Zuckerberg some money and saying, hey, I want to target moms who are 35 to 45 with toddlers, and I want them to buy my product. And Mark Zuckerberg will gladly take your money and put your ads in front of those people. So there's advertising. There's a partnership model, which is the model that we're actually launching with. And the reason I'm launching with a partnership model is A, because I have some relationships in the game, but B, there's no risk out of my hand. I don't know if my funnel is going to convert. So I'm not going to give Zuckerberg money until I know I can actually sell this thing and I have the right messaging. So we're going with a partner strategy. And so what we did is we've identified, I've been interviewed on 150 different podcasts over the last 3 years. So we've gone out to those 150 people and I wrote a 4-page direct mail sales letter. We put in stickers, a magnet, and a sample label. So we have labels made up for the product that will go on the bottles, but we just have the label. And I'm putting them in a package and we're going to FedEx 150 of these packages to these podcasters and say, hey, we got this amazing thing coming in November. Would you like to at least schedule a call with Greg to talk about it and see if he could be a guest on the show, or if there's a sponsorship opportunity, or if there's an affiliate opportunity? We have no idea, but are you open to a conversation? Leading them all to book a call with me where I can talk to them and be like, all right, Mark, you're down. All right, here's some things that we could do. Are you down for an affiliate agreement where we can give you a coupon code that gets your guys $10 off, and then we'll give you 50% of all sales, and we'll do that in perpetuity. So if they keep buying our supplement for 3 years, we'll pay you for 3 years. Do you just have a sponsor model? We'll just give you $2,500 and we'll be the title sponsor for your podcast for the next, whatever, 90 days, or like whatever that it is. Or do you want to just have me as a guest on your show and we can talk about it and then we can offer at the end of and so we're doing that for 150 podcasters. We've also gone and identified 50 groups that target entrepreneurs on Facebook, and we're going to the group owners, the admins, and we're doing the exact same process. So we're going to the group admins and saying like, hey, do you have, because they probably also have an email list. They probably, maybe they have a podcast or video show. Maybe they have something else. Or can we just do a live stream inside of your Facebook group and we'll give you an affiliate cut? Or can we do a sponsored something in your group? So we're going that route. And then we're also going to media partners. So we're looking at trade associations. So I do a lot of my video work prior to this was to financial advisors, to real estate agents, chiropractors, dentists, like professional services folks. They all have associations that you can partner with. So the Financial Planning Association, the Dental Association, the National Association of Realtors, but then every state has like the Florida Association of Realtors. Every city, there's the Greater Orlando Real Estate Association. So we're reaching out to as many of these as possible and saying, hey, can we put on a webinar, a seminar, a training for your people all about high performance, about how to be higher performers, how to be more productive? And we're not pitching the supplement. We're kind of coming from a higher end of high performance. And then one of the, let's say we're going to teach 5 things. The 5th pillar will be, yeah. And then once you've gotten your sleep right, you're dialing your nutrition and this and that, there's supplementation. And yes, we have Ambitious Edge, blah, 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 that can service that. So the partnership strategy has been great because now all of a sudden I don't expect all 150 podcasters. Let's say that I get a quarter of them, so 30 of them, but now that's 30 podcasts. Let's say they all have 1,000 listeners each. They're kind of mid-tier podcasts. That's 30,000 people I'm in front of that have rabid fans, that have people to listen to them. And I'm in the Financial Planning Association, the Realtor Association, and then I'm in like 10 Facebook groups. To my marketplace over this 30, 60, 90-day launch period, we blanket them and we are everywhere. And hopefully that creates enough momentum that then we have some cash flow. We're, in a nice state with inventory. We've seen everything. And now we can go do paid acquisition. So I know that was like heavy, but that's how we're looking at it, as a partnership strategy to lower our risk and to create this omnipresence and media effect, which will then turn into paid acquisition. We will go and use Facebook, YouTube, Google, kind of the traditional media networks to do paid acquisition, but only we know.
I just want to say that what I really love about this approach, I mean, and listen, Greg is laying down all the tips, tools, and tactics here. Go to podcasters, go to group admins, go to trade associations, get started today. But what I really love about what you're doing is this partnership model. It's the idea of giving affiliate links, because the risk to you is basically zero. If people click the link, then you're gonna profit. The customer is going to get a good product. But what this is really, I love this, is you're getting a super easy sale with the influencer themselves. Like the influencer, it's win-win-win, right? They promote your like, for example, we're going to have a code here at the end of the show here. It's going to be Savant. So if you guys want to check out Ambitious Energy, click Savant. I win, you win, Greg wins. It's super, super powerful. And this is what everyone's doing on Instagram when they have these links, right? Super, super powerful. I mean, I think this is something that is very new to the market, but absolutely profound, something that every entrepreneur should be looking at doing.
So, but I think for someone who's just getting started, especially if you're kind of that after hours entrepreneur, is like, you don't have, $10,000 a month to spend on Facebook traffic.
Right.
Like, I get it. Right. Like, and for us, even with this product, we have the cash, but we don't want to do it because we could lose our shirt. Like, we have no idea if this is going to convert or not. So it reduces the friction. So again, saying, you want to sell, you're selling an info product to moms to teach their babies how to sleep. Well, who are all the Facebook groups, the Baby Wise groups, all the sleep training groups, the local moms that you could just infiltrate? There is no risk out of your end because you're only paying when a sale is made. right?
Yeah.
So you're not
Yeah.
coming out of pocket. And I think, if you can get 3 of these partners, 5 of these partners, 10 of these partners on board, you don't need to go as wide as I did, right? You might only do it to 10. Totally cool. If you go to 10 and you pick up 2, well, now you got 2 promotional outlets. And now if one of them goes really well, now I can go to Mark and say, hey, Mark, I just was on, Joe's show over here. This is the results that they did. Do you want to jump on board? And you're starting to build that social proof and that momentum. 1 or 2 promotional partners can change the game for you and get you on the map and get you cash flow overnight. So don't think that because I have a couple more resources than you because I've been doing this for a little while, but don't think you can't scale it down and find 1, 2, 3 partners and blow this out of the water.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love this. It's a great way to build a business. I think it's something that everyone should be absolutely considering. And, I can say that in the podcasting game, it only takes one big guest to put your podcast on the map. Same thing. It only takes one big shout out from a big influencer to put your supplement company or your video production company, your digital media marketing company, whatever your offering is.
Well, and here's the other deal. Don't think that you need to get the biggest fish in the ocean to make this to work, right? So the podcasts that we are targeting are mostly in the 500 to 5,000 download capacity. So we're not going after the Joe Rogans or the Tim Ferrisses, and totally cool. But Tim Ferriss is already promoting Athletic Greens. He's not going to promote ours. Joe Rogan's already is a partner in On It. So anyway, they already have that. But some of the podcasts that we're going after, they have no sponsors or nothing on their show. So for us to come in and be like, hey, we're going to pay you now. They're like, whoa, I might actually make some money off of this podcast that I've been putting all this blood, sweat, and tears into, is really cool for them. And that might entice other sponsors or advertisers to come to them. So we're trying to make it as win-win of a situation, like you said, but don't discredit someone who has 1,000 passionate, users and friends and people that love them. If I can go to a show that's got 1,000 listeners and I can make 25 sales off of that, I mean, that's huge. That is a game changer, as opposed to going to somebody with 10, 20, 30, 500,000 people who doesn't really care about me. And I'm just a tweet that they put out because they got a check for it. So I'm much looking for deeper integration as opposed to surface level, make me look good. Again, it's ego over mission. My mission is I know this product is going to help a lot of people. So I want to make the biggest impact that I can versus looking cool, because Lewis Howes endorsed me or something, So, and I love Lewis. Don't get me wrong. Lewis is a friend. He's been on my show before, but love him. But you know what I mean?
And there's certainly nothing wrong with taking those big shots, right? But if you're going to send out 5 emails and expect a result, you're in the wrong game. And frankly, if that's not your bag, if that's not something you love to do it, hire someone to do it for you. Hire a virtual assistant or something. That's something I'm big on, huge on, is getting help from outside sources to help promote your products, your services. Fill in what you're weak at. If you're weak at reaching out, find someone that can do it. Cool. Yep. So listen, we're talking to Greg Rollett here from ambitious.com. You can go there to see everything that Greg's doing. But before I let you go, Greg, I got to get into the world famous After Hours Entrepreneur Rapid Fire. Are you ready? You strapped in?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. It is time for liftoff. So I'm going to start with the classic. What is a must-have business item that costs less than $50?
Oh man, a notebook. By far. I write everything in notebooks. I have I was been joking, but literally I have notebook after notebook after notebook in front of me. I don't, if you're watching the audio version, you have no idea that I'm just making a dork of myself, but I use notebooks more than anything. It's the best way to get your thoughts and ideas out.
I'm curious, do you actually go back and look at the notebooks afterwards, or is it just an idea of kind of putting a pen on paper and thinking it through?
It's a great question. So I have 2 types of notebooks. One that is idea execution stuff, and then one that is just brain word vomit, get it out into the world. But I do scan both of them into Evernote. So I do digitize everything into Evernote so that I can never use it later, but it's there if I ever need it.
It's cool. Yeah, I think that's interesting. Interesting point. All right, cool. What is a must-have subscription?
Man, right now, my favorite subscription is Ecamm. Ecamm Live has literally changed my life as far as how I record live videos, how I record my courses, how I record just quick videos to clients. I think that is the best software on the market for video, bar none. And, now they're releasing interviews. Anyway, it's the best $10-15 you can spend.
Cool. Ecamm. Love it. Love it. I've seen that pop up too. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes on. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what would you say?
Go faster. Go faster. Just put the pedal to the floor. Nothing can stop you if you just keep moving one step in front of the other.
Okay. I dig that. And you're pretty fast, so I don't know how much faster you can go, but okay, next question here. If you woke up in the morning, there was only one business task you could do for the day, what would you do?
Write words.
Dig it.
Writing is, I think it is the number one skill that anyone can acquire today, because the words you write could become videos, they become articles, they become social media posts, they become emails, cold outreach. Like, getting better at the taking thought and getting it out into the world in a tangible format. Writing is the most valuable skill that you can have.
Yeah, easy to forget that too in a world of video and audio and whatnot. Really love that. Final question here for you, Greg. If you had a billboard message that could reach millions and millions of people, what would you put on your billboard?
You can't save souls in an empty church. It's a David Ogilvy quote, old ad man. And it's my favorite quote of all time, because so many people have, I want to change the world, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they put zero thought into how they're going to get out into the marketplace. So you heard in this episode how I started geeking out over distribution. It's because without marketing, you could have the best product. And like, how many amazing products, inventions, things fail, and then it gets picked up by someone who gets it on QVC or distribute. Like, if you don't have marketing, you could have the cure to cancer, but if no one's listening to you, it doesn't matter. You could have the cure to anything, but marketing is what gets it into the hands of the people that matter. So you can't save souls in an empty church. If you're preaching to nobody, your message is going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, and you definitely laid down some really actionable stuff here, Greg. This was a pleasure. Look forward to watching your story unfold. Thanks for joining the show.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed this episode. I've got several other episodes right here for you. Smash one of these videos to make sure that you don't miss out on the tips, tools, and tactics of industry experts. Let's take that side hustle full time. Smash one of these links.